Alright, so today we have a very chill Seattle Shadow and Schmooze. I'm here in Seattle. This is where we just hang out. I put on makeup, get ready for the day, and we just chat. I'm answering some of your questions from Instagram, but also just like talking about random stuff, catching you up, the usual. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do while you're watching, you can give it a thumbs up. All the makeup I'm putting on my face today is listed down below in the description box, along with what I'm wearing. This is from American Eagle. It's like my favorite jacket. I also have an Amazon one though like this that is also great and it's a little bit cheaper and it's a little bit lighter. This is Aritzia, just like the ribbed tank from them. Here we go. This is the Summer Fridays lip balm. I've been keeping this in my bag and I really liking it. I haven't worn it overnight though, so I'm not sure like how moisturizing it is really, but it's really nice and glossy and just like comfortable. I let my hair dry in braids and then I like half curled my hair, so it's not looking great. I'm gonna start out with my Dime Tinted SPF. Love this stuff. I'm like almost out of this actually. If I don't mention what I'm using, it'll be linked down below in the description box because we're gonna be chatting it up. So I'm currently in my friend's apartment. I'm actually cat sitting and this is the first cat that I'm like, I get it. She's so sweet and like follows me around and is so cuddly. When I'm filming this, I've been here for about 4 days so far. And it's always just weird when I'm back in Seattle and also working because I just have so many things I want to do, people I want to see. It's just like a packed schedule. Like today I'm filming this, going to work from a cafe with one friend and then getting dinner with a different friend. And I feel like I just don't have enough time here. Okay, this actually might be empty. Oh, maybe the pump was just stuck. Like she's literally sitting on my foot right now. You're too cute. Okay, so where have I been? I went from Denver, which I have a vlog, 2 vlogs on, and I talked all about my Denver thoughts at the end of one of the vlogs, the last one. And then I went from there to Bend, Oregon. And if you haven't been to Bend or haven't heard of Bend, it's like a smaller town in Oregon. I went to school in Oregon, so I love Oregon. It always has like a special place in my heart, and I still think Oregon's like one of the best states. It's just beautiful, people are friendly, good food, obviously amazing hiking, lakes, hot springs, like it's just so pretty. I've been using the Sace lip tint a lot lately and loving it. I mean, I already know I love this product, but it's just so good. It wears well, it looks like skin. With a brush, it actually covers, like in combination with the tinted SPF, it covers like what I need it to. And it just looks like your skin is just naturally radiant, like so pretty. Anyways, we're chatting, not talking about makeup. Well, we're doing both. Welcome to Shadow and Schmooze. I've been to Bend before, but like very briefly, like I haven't really seen everything, and it's changed a lot and grown a ton in the last like 5 years. But it's basically like a super cute, lots of young families, amazing food, tons of breweries. Like I think they have the most, I'll put in here, either breweries or restaurants like per capita. Total like heaven if you're like a foodie. It's between like a couple different mountains, so in the winter you're in like prime, ski snowboard area, and then in the summer you have the Deschutes River going right through. And so we went tubing. I have a friend who lives there from college and I stayed with her and sisters afterwards. I stayed in Bend for a few days before I met up with her. We went in a couple times and went tubing, went to like a really cute brunch place and stuff. It's so beautiful and so nice that you can just like float down the river right there. Whenever I'm back in Oregon, I can't tell if it's just because, let me know if you're someone who's gone back to like your college state and felt this way, but there's something about Oregon to me that's just like so calming. I don't know if it's literally just the nature. Whenever I'm there, there's this like Oregon feeling to me and I just friggin' love it. My friend was saying that there are a lot of people working remote in Bend, and it seemed like that, like there were a lot of people working from cafes and stuff. The only thing is the Redmond airport, which is the closest one to Bend, is like super small. Like you have to transfer either in Seattle or Portland to go pretty much anywhere. So it just kind of like adds on a leg to a trip, like if you're going international or whatever, or even East Coast, because you'd have to go like Redmond to Seattle, Seattle to New York or something like that. So not like super ideal as a place to be based out of if you want to travel a lot. I'm gonna have a speed reviews coming, so I'm gonna do updates on like all these products I'm using. Oops, forgot my brow gel first. It was just like a super good reset trip. So good to catch up with my friend and stay with them, meet her husband, and just be back in Oregon. So I don't know, Bend isn't fully off the list of places I would move. It's really just the airport fact that I don't know about. But it is really interesting because at the start of all this, I was literally just gonna travel around and then move to New York City. Now I would never move to New York City. So interesting how like my thoughts have changed the last couple years. And I've realized a couple things. One, I think I'm almost too adaptable, which sounds like one of those answers when you're doing a job interview and they ask you what your like biggest weaknesses and you give like a very political answer. I don't mean it like that. I just mean I think I could live pretty much anywhere and easily adapt myself to whatever is going on in that area or country or culture, which I don't know how I feel about that. It's a good thing, but also it can be like to the point where then you're kind of like questioning like, okay, what is actually best for myself and what do I actually really want? And I think what I've figured out over the last couple of years of traveling is that I don't actually want to be in like a big city. I like being close to one or like being somewhere where it still has a bunch of restaurants, it still has a lot of stuff going on, but like I don't necessarily want to live in New York City or Chicago or like a city like that anymore. And I just think I realized the impact of like nature. I just do feel so much more relaxed being places where like you have easy access to hikes and mountains and lakes, and I do really, really love that. I'm not explaining this well. I just think I like freaking green and trees and being in nature more than I realized. I'm not saying no to a big city as in like Denver or something like that, but just being somewhere where within 20 minutes you can be like fully in nature, I think is definitely something I realized that I want. And I'm not opposed to like a smaller like Bend sized area anymore, whereas before I don't think I was even like considering those kind of places. It's nice, like there's more of a community feel. It just doesn't feel as like hectic. So anyways, that's where I've been. Now I'm in Seattle. I'm here for about 10 days total, and then I'm going back to Phoenix for Mayo Clinic. My eyebrows usually need to be plucked when I film. I feel like I say that in every video, but today they are next level. Like I've got hairs all the way down here, folks. It's not looking good. If you're someone who also is like very adaptable to whatever is around you, whoever's around you, wherever you are, comment down below your thoughts on that. Like obviously there's big benefits to that, but I think also you're kind of like, okay, but where the heck do you belong? Let me pull up a couple topics or questions I asked you guys on Instagram what you wanted me to kind of chat about in this video. Making friends in your 30s. So there used to be all these groups, you know, like meetup.com and stuff like that, Facebook groups. And Facebook groups are still a good way to meet people, but there's all of these like TikTok meetups, which is really cool. I noticed in Denver there were a lot. There were like hiking groups and skate groups. I've seen like TikToks in San Diego for women's walking groups that are all trying to like meet people and make friends. So I actually think TikTok is probably like the best resource at this point. And then obviously just doing things that you enjoy doing that hopefully are like a group activity. Like maybe you want to do, I don't know, a pottery class or volunteer, any kind of activity that kind of gets you out of the house and meeting people who also like doing similar things. You can just look up like the city hashtags on TikTok. One thing I wanted to ask you guys, I asked this on Instagram. I'm curious your thoughts on like doing shadow and schmoozes. I'm not stopping these, but just curious where I'm like talking, doing makeup versus just like sit down chatty videos where I'm not like doing anything, or like a car chat, because I feel like whenever I do car chats, they get less views than shadow and schmoozes, but I can't tell if it's just because of like the topics that I'm talking about in the last couple of videos, or do you guys like having something to like watch as I'm talking? Because personally, I really like when people do just like sit down Q&As or something, because I just do something else at the same time. Oh good, my camera strap was just almost chilling in coffee. Like when I'm watching a Q&A video, I'm usually like doing laundry or washing the dishes or something, and I just kind of like have it on in the background like I'm listening to it. Do you really prefer watching me do something like do my makeup at the same time, aka shadow and schmoozes, or would you watch every now and then just like a sit down one where I'm not doing something? Because sometimes it is like much easier to just do the sit down videos, especially if I'm trying to film 2 videos in a day, or I'm just like not in the mood to do makeup on camera. So let me know your thoughts on that. Have you found a better product than the Aura Ring? So if you missed the whole Aura Ring saga, I will link the vlogs here. I had a terrible experience with their customer service not replacing a like super faulty ring that was still within the 30 days too, and like basically not sticking to their warranty. They actually offered through Instagram after they saw that video to replace the ring, and I actually politely declined because I just feel like that's I don't know, it's just kind of shitty. Like if I didn't make the video on it, if I didn't have a following, they wouldn't have done the right thing. So I feel like accepting the ring just wasn't the right choice. It just felt weird, and I wouldn't want to like continue to promote them after that whole experience. So I looked for other Aura ring kind of options, and I ended up backing a project on Kickstarter. I think it's called Iris. It's not like out yet, but like the backing period is over, so I don't think you can still back it. I think you just have to wait for it to come out, but it looks promising. But it seems like there's a few other companies that are coming out with similar kind of products now, like Aura ring competitors. Oops, that might be too dark for right now. I'm gonna go over that with my foundation brush. Future plans for your hair. Okay, there were a lot of questions about the hair. If you follow on Instagram, a few months ago, I was so tempted. Every few months I get like the urge to just go to Sally Beauty and change my hair color. Happens to the best of us. But the urge was strong and I had to really resist. Like I was about to do it. But the color that I would do is not like drastically different. It's like a chocolatey brown color is what I want, but no red in it, just like a brown tone, which sounds easy, but if you're going from black to anything, you gotta go through like the whole process, color remover, bleach, like all of it. It's super expensive. It takes a bunch of hours. It's just like a whole process. So I found someone in San Diego who I booked an appointment with for August, and I was fully gonna do it, and then I chickened out. Anytime I have any other hair color besides black, I've never liked it, and I've always gone back to black. I think I am still gonna do it, but I think I might just wait until like the holiday season or like fall. The stylist that I found in San Diego, she uses color remover, and I really wanted to find someone who did. It goes lighter faster, it's less damaging than doing like multiple rounds of bleach. My hair is just like so healthy right now and is like growing so fast. And if you've been here since the silver hair attempt, my hair was up to here, just like total spaghetti. The stylist, like the first stylist I went to, just totally fried my hair. It was like rubber spaghetti noodles, literally. To be determined. It's probably gonna happen when the urge comes. It's so strong, and then I'm like, I can do it myself. I really need to get a new eyeshadow palette because I've been using this in literally every video, but here we are. Actually, why am I doing eyeshadow? I haven't done blush. Okay, I'm gonna use this L'Oreal blush. How to structure your day to be productive when you're at home all day, every day. As someone who has worked for myself and worked from home for a long time now, I feel like if you are able to, which if you work from home, usually you are, even if you're like working a 9 to 5, I would say work when you are your most productive. Like whether that's at night, obviously you might have to do like calls at a certain time or meetings at a certain time. I do too. But if you can, like I usually find that I'm most productive first thing in the morning, and I can't do literally anything else besides make coffee first, or else it just throws it off for me. So what I've found for myself is that I have to wake up early and I just have to like get going. And if I can get one thing done first thing in the morning, like check a big thing off my list, then I feel like it just makes the rest of my day more productive because I just already feel accomplished. There's a couple good books I'll link down below if you want more tips in that department. And then also, this is weird, but if I need a little boost and like get in the productive mindset, I put on running shoes in the house. It mentally does something. Whether I need to like get household chores done, if I put on shoes and I'm dressed, like not in PJs, I just get so much more done. Don't ask me the psychology behind that. I don't know, but it works for me. I'm gonna retry the Uma Beauty powder. Initially, it wasn't my favorite, but also wasn't terrible. What's the most you've ever spent on one Sephora order? That's a good question. I've never been asked that. I want to say like 700. I don't remember ever spending more than that on an order. And I think that's only because I ordered the Shark like Flex Styler, which I definitely will be testing on YouTube or on Instagram. When I have it, I shipped it to my parents' house in San Diego. But I'm pretty sure that was my biggest order. That was during like the sale. Yeah, that was a big boy. Favorite grocery store in all of your travels? I despise grocery stores, hence why I use Thrive Market anytime I can. Yeah, I really hate grocery store shopping, so a favorite is a strong word, but like the least overwhelming, I would say, was the Trader Joe's in Bend in the morning. I went when it was like empty, and they also just have like way more space between all the shelves than Trader Joe's normally does. But yeah, it was nice, it was spread out, it was big. How are your parents with not seeing you during your travels? I see my parents a lot. I've seen my parents more in the last 2 years than I have ever before that, like since leaving the house when I was 18 because we'll like meet up on trips. I'll stay with them in San Diego for like a month or two, which I'm doing like this summer again. I've seen them a ton. I just saw them in Tahoe. So that's been one of the things that has been so nice about this, not just them, but like just seeing family in general. I've seen so much more family and got to spend so much more time with people in the last couple of years. Do you think you'll ever do 15 days of foundation again? I've talked about this before, but I guess I'll touch on it again. The answer is no. I will never do that again. That was brutal. I mean, you can't even imagine how much work that was between not just the filming. The filming alone, 15 videos in a row while I was still uploading 3 days a week back then, on top of barely functioning with health stuff, was hell. And then there were like 3 or 4 more big components to 15 Days of Foundation where I was working with a charity. There was like a giveaway component, designed merch to sell. I was coordinating between all these brands to donate products. It was literally like it could have been 3 people's full-time jobs. And I would start planning literally like I think almost 6 months in advance. That's how long it took. I'm in a different headspace now with work. I also just don't think single foundation reviews typically perform the same. You always have to think about input versus output with content creation, or just in general, if you're your own boss, you have to think about the amount of hours and time and just like mental stress, everything that you're putting into something. And if the outcome is worth it. And like back then, I don't regret, I regret taking on as much as I did, but I don't regret doing it. I think back then, like 15 Days of Foundation helped to grow my channel a lot. I know that's how a lot of people found my videos. I love working with Project Beauty Share, and I still support them, and I want to do more campaigns with them as well. There were a ton of amazing things that came out of that. Mostly I'm just really proud of like all of the support that we were able to give to different shelters and cities and like the charity component of it. So I don't regret doing it, but I just think like single product reviews just don't perform the same on YouTube now than they used to. Like in the height of the beauty community days, you could upload a video, and this is a combo of like, I think people's attention spans changing, TikTok, but also like the main thing I think is the YouTube algorithm. YouTube has just like pushed down long form content, and their algorithm has just like totally changed. So there's a lot of factors, but I just think like doing a single foundation review, it just doesn't perform the same as it used to. And I know some people are going to be like, well, why don't you just do 5-in-1? That's what I do now, and those take me months. Like I would rather do what I'm doing now, where I take a couple months to like test foundations and then give you my fully formed thoughts, than do like 5 first impressions in one video. And that is actually way more work than doing the one individual video, because at least when you're doing that, you're getting individual videos out of it. 5-in-1 first impression videos or whatever, it's actually a lot of work, because you're still testing it the same. You still have to get the same amount of footage, but you would just be getting 1 video out of it instead of 5. I do genuinely love trying foundations, and I still enjoy it. But yeah, the days of 15 Days of Foundation are over. They're history, but I have like, I think 6 seasons of it that are in playlists on my channel if you want to go back and watch any. And I'm just really happy and thankful that a lot of you guys, most of you, have stuck with me as my channel's evolved over the years and turned into more of like, lifestyle, travel, makeup, whatever we are now, just like a big mix. Thank you so much for sticking with me and still watching and being here, because we got to hold down the YouTube fort, you know what I'm saying? I think for a minute there, brands, people, everything were thinking it was dead, but there's definitely still an audience. Brands are still putting the same amount of budget that they were before TikTok into YouTube, so obviously it's still converting well for them, and there's still a market, still an audience for long form content. I'm here to stay, baby. I love long form content. What do you need most in life to be happy apart from family? My number one thing is health. You cannot function without your health and actually live a life. So that's number one. What I've realized, especially in the last couple years, is just community, like how important having a good community is, and just people. It's really what like makes life, is the people that you're with and that you get to spend time with. Let me know down below how you would answer that question. Like for you, what is the most important thing in life besides family? And I would say love, like in general. I think that goes with community, but just like kindness and love overall, whether it's for friends, your partner, whoever. Whoa, look at the difference that mascara makes. I feel like this eye looks totally different. TV shows you've been watching, and I'm also going to tag on, there were some questions about like books that I've been reading. Let's start off with books, because I'm like most excited about that. My latest one that I finished and I am obsessed with, rated it 5 out of 5, is Fourth Wing. Now, I'm not into fantasy. I'm not a fantasy gal. I read the first few pages and I was like, oh God, am I really going to be reading about dragons? Like, how am I going to get into this? But people raved about it and it had like 49,000 almost 5-star reviews. So I was like, I'm going to give this a go. I love it. I cannot wait for the second book. They're probably going to turn it into a movie, I feel like. That one, whether you're into fantasy or not, like, I would say give that one a go. I've been reading a lot lately. I think I read like 7 books in the last month. The Psychology of Money, great one. That was super interesting. I think that's worth a read. Love in Other Words is, I think, my favorite in like the, romance book category, by Christina Lauren, which apparently are actually 2 authors, Christina and Lauren. Didn't know that. It's super well written. It's like probably, I think, the most well written romance book I've read so far. And it also just like had me hooked and interested from the very beginning, just because I loved her writing style so much, and I just loved like every page of that. Don't read Every Summer After, in my opinion. I actually read them back to back, having no idea. I just like read Every Summer After right after Love in Other Words. Love in Other Words came out before Every Summer After. In my opinion, Every Summer After was a little too close to Love in Other Words. I was like, what's happening here? Since I read it back to back, there were like so many similarities, a little too close. And in Every Summer After, she actually mentions Christina Lauren as like her inspiration. So I don't know, to me, Every Summer After was just like a shittier version of Love in Other Words. And it also came after, so just read the original. Right now I'm reading The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, since I loved her last one. I read Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. I don't think it was like incredible. There were some good points, but I think you just watch like the Netflix special on it. The Last Lecture I started, he just sounded like so egotistical to me that I just like couldn't get through it. I stopped after like, I did the audiobook. It's a 4-hour audiobook. I made it like 2 hours in. Emily Henry, Happy Place. That's Emily Henry's new one. I liked that one. It's not my top. Beach Read is still my number 1 Emily Henry. I'll put in my like order of Emily Henry books here. I totally forgot. I also read The People We Meet on Vacation. So here's my rating for that one. And then the ranking for all of the Emily Henry books. But I did really enjoy it. It was still like very cute and I liked it. And then I read Make Time by Jake Knapp. I don't know. I didn't get much out of it. I didn't rank it very high. I think I gave it like a 3.8 or maybe, what did I even rate this one? I'll put it in here. By the way, I do my ratings over on Instagram and I have a book highlight. I have books part 1, books part 2. I don't have a Goodreads account. I just do it all on Instagram, so if you want to follow along with the books. And then as far as shows, I actually started watching Suits. I'd never seen it. So I started from season 1. For me right now, it's like the kind of show that you can kind of have on like in the background. Each episode is a different case kind of. There's like some overlap, but for the most part, you can kind of like, you don't need to be like glued. It's not like something that you're going to miss a lot of details if you kind of like are doing something for a second. It's the one that Meghan Markle's in. I haven't watched Succession, but I want to start that because that's another one that everyone like raves about. And then The Bachelorette is back. Bachelorette's back. New season of Married at First Sight. So you know I'm there. I'm all there for Married at First Sight. I want to try this liner. It's the Peri Para in the shade Rosy Nude. I'm just wiping off that Summer Fridays. I don't know if I don't think I'm going to put on my corner lashes today because I'm just going to be staring at a computer. How are you balancing your plans with unknowns/desires of starting a family? I'm not. I'm just going with the flow, trying not to overthink things. I mentioned this in my Denver vlog, but I did want to thank you guys for all of your just like thoughts and advice on my last shadow and schmooze when I kind of talked about this topic. It truly helped. And someone else asked if Spain is still in the cards. It's not off the table. We will see. One more book question. Are you venturing more into the fantasy genre after reading Fourth Wing? Yeah, I actually, right after I finished that, and I was like, maybe I like fantasy. I do have A Court of Rose and Thorns, a court of Thorns and Roses. So I would say I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give fantasy a little whirl. Have you always been a bookworm, or was it something that you made habitual? It's definitely something that I made habitual in the last few years. I think like reading is like forced upon you as a kid, at least it was on me, by teachers, and having like time things where it's like you have to read 20 minutes every night or do this, and it's like when you're forced to do something like that, it just makes it so it's not fun, you know? And like I get it, obviously kids have to read. It wasn't until I was like, I want to say 27 maybe, that I got back into reading, and now it's like one of my main hobbies. So it can be done. If you think you're not into books or reading, you probably just maybe haven't found like the right things that you like to read. For me, the transition was like doing solely, at the beginning, I was only reading nonfiction because it was like a way for me to be like, almost like justify it when I was like, you know, psycho about doing anything besides work. It was like I was getting something out of it, I was learning something, and that was like a good kind of transition for me, was starting with nonfiction. So in my mind, I could feel like I was being productive. Now I don't feel that when I'm reading. I just like enjoy it, and I don't feel like everything I have to do is to be productive, but I do love the feeling of finishing a book. Looking to buy my first Kindle, what do you recommend? Are there any more migraine friendly? I would say the one that I have right now is because you can dim the light, you can change the warmth, and I keep it like pretty low, and I also keep it a little more warm so that it's like less harsh on your eyes. I love my Kindle. It's the Kindle Oasis. It has buttons, but you can also like tap the screen to flip the page. I also think if you're someone who has like upper body, you know, like chronic pain issues, it's life-changing compared to a book, because when I was reading the Colleen Hoover, that's another one I read. That was the worst book I've read in a long time. Never, or whatever it's called. When I was reading that, it was a physical book, and to like move your arm every time to like turn the page, and then I don't know, for me that it doesn't feel great. So for me, having the Kindle where I can literally just like get in a position, get comfy, and then just like go like this is so much easier. Any of the models, you can tap the page to go next if you don't like the buttons or you don't want to spend the money for the Kindle Oasis. Do you ever miss Seattle? I miss the people in Seattle, and I obviously like, I still love Seattle as a city. I love how there's so much water. I love the greenery. Like there's a lot of amazing things about Seattle. I love Seattle as a city. I don't miss it as much as maybe I thought I would, or like I don't miss it in the sense that I like ever consider moving back here. I don't have an urge to move back here. I also just significantly feel shittier here. I don't know if it's like the pressure. I'm gonna do a little flick with eyeliner. I have been really liking this eyeliner. It's the Urban Decay 24/7 inks, and it just has a brush tip so it doesn't like drag weird. By the way, the powder, the Uma powder, same kind of thing as last time. I feel like it does a pretty nice job blurring, not as much as my other two powders. I'll link down below, but the thing I have with it is that I just feel like it takes away like some of the coverage underneath. I'm just doing a literally tiny little single line flick just to almost make it look like it's a lash, just like makes your eye look a little bit bigger. The best dating scene so far since the beginning of your nomad travels, we need to know. I would say the best dating scene has been Austin, Texas. A bunch of different types of people, very friendly city. You don't even really need the apps to like meet people. Like people are just very chatty and schmoozy in real life. There's just like a big mix. So I think like no matter who you're into, you might be able to like find someone there, and people are very attractive there. Okay, I feel like that was a pretty mellow one. Mellow makeup, mellow chat. My hair is friggin' growing lately. It's like past my boobs right now. I think I'm just gonna keep growing it out, especially if I do decide to do the brown thing. I want all the hair on my head I can get before I do that, in case we got to do some chopping, you know. But that was everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this shadow and schmooze. I'll have all the makeup I used on my face listed down below in the description box. I also wanted to note, because this video is actually going up like a couple days after I'm filming it, if you're someone who entered the Anissa giveaway on this video right here, the summer glow up video, they have contacted all the winners. They're having trouble reaching like 6 people, so I'm actually gonna put the winners right here in case this is your YouTube name. We will be double checking. Don't try and make some fake accounts or anything, but if that's you, they have commented back on YouTube, so go back to your comment or reach out to them on Instagram. They will make you verify that that's truly your account. Thank you to everyone who entered. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.